The morning sun barely peeked over the horizon when Henry Caldwell, a 71-year-old retired surveyor, stepped onto his porch, coffee in hand, unaware that his quiet life was about to be turned upside down. For 30 years, Henry had lived on his modest 8-acre property, a slice of land inherited from his father, surrounded by sprawling mansions that had sprung up like weeds in what was once farmland. He tended his chickens, grew tomatoes, and maintained a simple fence his father had built decades ago. But that Tuesday, everything changed. A thick certified letter from the Crestview Homeowners Association arrived, its gold-embossed lettering reeking of self-important wealth. Inside was a violation notice that hit like a sledgehammer, a $250,000 fine for illegal fence placement, unauthorized structures, and encroachment on community green space. Henry's blood boiled. His fence, his shed, his late wife Clara's beloved gazebo structures older than the HOA itself were suddenly deemed illegal. The audacity of it all set his surveyor's instincts on fire. This wasn't just a fine, it was a declaration of war. Within hours, Victoria Langston, the HOA president, strutted across Henry's gravel driveway in heels that cost more than his monthly pension. Flanked by two board members clutching clipboards like weapons, she surveyed his property with a sneer, pointing at his fence, shed, and chicken coop as if they were crimes against humanity. "Mr. Caldwell," she announced, "you're trespassing on community land. Comply, or we'll proceed with legal action." When Henry produced his 1973 property deed, showing his boundaries clear as day, Victoria dismissed it with a flick of her manicured hand. "Outdated," she scoffed. "Modern surveys say otherwise." Across the street, neighbor Martha Evans called out a cheery greeting, oblivious to the storm brewing. But when she later confirmed she'd seen Henry's fence in the same spot for 25 years, Victoria's icy smile didn't waver. "You're both mistaken," she said, promising liens and forced sales if Henry didn't comply within 30 days. Henry wasn't intimidated. 45 years in construction had taught him to spot a scam from a mile away, and this reeked worse than a backed-up sewer. The violation notice cited a 2010 survey curiously conducted 5 years after the mansions were built. Why redo a survey after construction? Suspicion gnawed at him. He called his old friend Tom Reynolds, a property lawyer with 3 decades of experience. Tom's reaction was immediate. "Henry, this smells like fraud. Get an independent survey now." That night, Henry dusted off his old GPS unit, metal detector, and measuring tools, relics from his career. If the HOA wanted to play dirty, they'd picked the wrong old man to mess with. He hired Luke Thompson, the best surveyor in the county, to conduct a 3-week boundary survey using cutting-edge GPS, laser, and radar equipment. Luke, nearly as seasoned as Henry, grew quiet when told about the buried survey stakes Henry had found with his metal detector. "This could be bigger than a fence dispute," Luke warned. They started with Henry's 1973 deed, cross-referencing it with GPS coordinates accurate 2 inches. The results were staggering. Henry's property extended 50 to 75 feet beyond his fence right into the heart of his neighbor's million-dollar estates. Victoria's $300,000 infinity pool and tennis court, built entirely on Henry's land. Nathan Brooks' 4-car garage with its gleaming circular driveway, Henry's property. Elena Carter's lavish master bedroom wing. Jackson Reed's outdoor kitchen. Bethany Cole's manicured lawn with its ornate fountainall encroaching on land Henry had inherited 50 years ago. The deeper they dug, the uglier it got. The 2010 survey was a sham. The company behind it had dissolved in 2008, its signatures forged, its coordinates fabricated to shrink Henry's property. Martha Evans recalled construction crews moving boundary markers during the mansion-building frenzy, passing it off as updating for the new development. Neighbors had trusted the permits and professional crews, never suspecting fraud. Luke's 40-page report, packed with GPS data, photos, and legal descriptions, was a bombshell. Over $2 million in structures sat on Henry's 8 acres, built without his consent. Victoria's panic was palpable. She tried to discredit Luke, questioning his credentials, but his state surveyor seal and 20 years of experience shut her down. The HOA's harassment escalated noise complaints about Henry's rooster, health department calls about his compost, but Henry was ready for battle. The HOA meeting was a spectacle. The community center buzzed with residents expecting to see Henry humiliated. Victoria had set up a projector, flanked by attorneys in suits that screamed money. Her presentation painted Henry as a delusional old man threatening neighborhood harmony with his outdated claims. She flashed photos of his violations, citing legal jargon about community standards. Nathan complained about rooster noise ruining his sleep. Elena fretted over wildlife from Henry's garden. Jackson called the shed an eyesore. Bethany worried about safety. Their attorney warned of dire consequences if Henry didn't back down. Then it was Henry's turn. He walked to the front, calm as a summer morning, and connected Luke's laptop to the projector. The first Imagia drone shot of the neighborhood with red GPS-verified boundary lines drew a collective gasp. Those lines sliced through Victoria's pool, Nathan's garage, Elena's bedroom, Jackson's kitchen, and Bethany's lawn. Slide after slide showed GPS coordinates, buried survey stakes, and the fake 2010 survey's forged signatures. Martha stood up, her voice steady, recounting how crews had moved markers years ago. Other longtime residents nodded, their memories aligning with the evidence. The room erupted shock, anger, disbelief. Victoria's objections crumbled as Henry demonstrated live GPS readings matching his deed to the inch. Mathematics doesn't lie, he said, staring down the board. The meeting dissolved into chaos, with Victoria's attorneys scrambling and residents arguing over property values. The legal war that followed was brutal. Victoria hired a top-tier litigation firm, countersuing for fraud, harassment, and elder abuse. Henry's attorney, Sarah Collins, a property law veteran, filed a boundary dispute seeking a declaratory judgment. Discovery was grueling depositions, document demands, and attacks on Henry's mental competency. Media swarmed, framing it as a David and Goliath saga. Victoria's team offered settlements $50,000, then $100,000, finally $2 million, but Henry refused. "This isn't about money," he told them. "It's about what's mine." His legal bills climbed past $75,000, eating into savings meant for his grandchildren, but principle trumped cost. In court, Judge Evelyn Harper presided with a no-nonsense reputation. Victoria's lawyers argued GPS was unreliable, claiming evolved boundaries should outweigh technical data when million-dollar homes were at stake. Luke's testimony dismantled them. He showed live GPS readings, explained satellite precision, and exposed the 2010 survey as a deliberate fraud. Martha's account of moved markers sealed the deal, her honesty outshining the HOA's polished lies. Victoria's testimony collapsed under Sarah's cross-examination. She couldn't justify the fake survey or her actions. Henry took the stand, his 45 years of expertise shining as he explained GPS accuracy and his father's deed. The jury deliberated 2 agonizing days before delivering a verdict that shook the county. Henry owned the disputed land, confirmed by GPS and deeds. The mansion's owners owed compensation for 15 years of unauthorized use. Victoria now pays $2,000 monthly to keep her pool. Nathan shells out $1,500 for his garage, Elena $2,500 for her bedroom, Jackson $1,800 for his kitchen. Bethany relocated her fountain, costing a fortune, but pays $1,200 for yard access. The ruling set a precedent. GPS is the gold standard for boundaries, and deeds trump HOA claims. Henry's victory reshaped the neighborhood. Martha helps manage his tenants, and a community garden thrives on his reclaimed land. He speaks at conferences, inspiring others to fight HOA abuses. Victoria, humbled, now seeks his advice. Henry's modest life has upgraded a new truck, home renovations, a scholarship fund, but the real win is respect. From a $250,000 fine to monthly rent from millionaires, Henry proved that truth, backed by technology and grit, can topple even the wealthiest bullies. His story dares anyone facing injustice to stand firm, document everything, and never back down.